Welcome to this journey into one of the most disturbing and least discussed cases in recorded frontier history. Before we begin, I invite you to leave a comment telling us where you are watching from and the exact time you started this video. For reasons that will become clear later, these stories have a strange way of finding people at very specific moments. What you are about to hear is not folklore. It is not a campfire legend. It is a reconstruction based on parish records, medical journals, expedition notes, and personal diaries recovered decades after the events took place. This is the story of Creststone Valley and the traitor who should never have come there. The winter of 1893 was among the harshest ever recorded in the remote mountain regions of the Colorado Territory. Snow blocked most mountain passes until late April, isolating entire settlements from the outside world. Temperatures frequently fell below -20 degrees Fahrenheit, and survival depended on careful preparation and cooperation. One such settlement was Creststone Valley, a small community of fewer than 30 adults, consisting mostly of miners, their families, and a few merchants who supplied the surrounding claims. The valley itself was ancient, carved by glaciers into a natural amphitheater surrounded by towering peaks. A narrow canyon provided some shelter from the wind, and a natural spring allowed the settlement to exist at all. Long before settlers arrived, the Ute tribes had considered this valley significant. According to oral traditions later recorded by territorial surveyors, it was described as a place where the earth speaks to those who listen properly. Most guides refused to remain there after nightfall. In 1891, territorial surveyor Nathaniel Crawford documented several cave systems in the cliffs surrounding the valley. His notes, preserved in territorial archives, describe unusual acoustic properties, sounds that carried too far, echoed too precisely, or seemed to originate from impossible distances. More disturbing were his sketches. Carved into the stone near multiple cave entrances were geometric patterns, ancient and mathematically precise, predating any known historical presence in the region. Crawford noted that local Ute guides refused to enter these caves, calling them places of calling, locations that could draw people in and not allow them to return unchanged. In 1889, a prospector named Jeremiah Slocum built a small cabin near the mouth of Dead Horse Canyon, roughly 2 miles from Creststone Valley. Within months, Slocum abandoned it. His departure was sudden and unexplained. Tools, supplies, and personal belongings were left behind, suggesting no intention of leaving permanently. When questioned later, Slocum claimed he had found signs of previous habitation in nearby caves, including arrangements of human bones and symbols carved deep into living rock. He told others that staying longer would have meant accepting an invitation he wasn't prepared to answer. Inside the cabin, the walls were covered in desperate carvings, intersecting geometric patterns that created disturbing optical illusions when viewed by lamplight. Every window had been boarded shut, plunging the interior into constant darkness. In October of 1892, a man named Zachariah Whitmore arrived in Creststone Valley. According to parish records kept by Father Cornelius Ashford, Whitmore claimed to be a fur trader representing trappers working the high country. He was tall, gaunt, prematurely gray, with hands marked by unusual scars. Witnesses described his movements as ritualistic in their precision. He spoke little of his past, mentioning only that he had worked territories farther north, where the wildlife runs different. Whitmore established his trading post in Slocum's abandoned cabin. When asked about the carvings, he dismissed them casually, saying they added character. Visitors later claimed the patterns appeared to shift in their peripheral vision, though direct inspection revealed only static lines. At first, Whitmore's deliveries were unremarkable. He supplied deer, elk, and mountain sheep pelts of exceptional quality. His prices were fair. His goods were warm, soft, and unusually well preserved. But subtle inconsistencies began to emerge. Evangeline Kessler, wife of the general store owner, kept a meticulous household ledger. Her entries from November 1892 note something strange. The fur feels different, softer, almost warm to the touch, as though it retained some vestige of the animal's life force. She began collecting hair samples from Whitmore's hides, pressing them into her journal. That collection would later become crucial evidence. As winter deepened, Whitmore's visits became more frequent, often during snowstorms that should have made travel impossible. Despite temperatures below -20, Whitmore wore only standard wool clothing. He never appeared tired or cold. His horse remained healthy and well-fed, even as local livestock struggled to survive. This caught the attention of Dr. Moray Thorne, the valley's only physician, a man trained at Johns Hopkins. With extensive experience treating frostbite and exposure, Dr. Thorne began keeping informal notes. He could not explain Whitmore's apparent immunity to cold. In January 1893, veteran hunter Josiah Brennan examined several of Whitmore's hides. Brennan had hunted the Rockies for over 30 years and served as a guide for multiple scientific expeditions. His verdict was simple: some of these pelts aren't from anything that belongs here. He identified fur patterns adapted for conditions that do not exist in Colorado, seams joining different animals together, and preservation methods beyond frontier capabilities. The traders' explanations were vague high valleys, hidden basins, indigenous methods no one else recognized. And then came the dreams. Families who used Whitmore's hides for bedding began reporting vivid recurring nightmares. Not symbolic dreams, memories, underground passages carved from living rock. Voices speaking languages they somehow understood. References to surface dwellers and completion of the arrangement. Dr. Thorne eventually placed one of the hides in his own bedroom. His journal records the first 2 nights as uneventful. On the 3rd night, he wrote, "Awakened at approximately 3:30 a.m. by whispering." The sound appeared to emanate from the hide itself. The entry ends there.